So again, welcome back everyone. I hope you all have practiced and sorry for yesterday's thing. And yeah, today we will get started and we'll continue from where we left. And one of the important thing that I need to cover today is how to handle select dropdown. Right? We have already handled a dropdown in Amazon that is called as uh, Bootstrap dropdown because you basically have to do 2 clicks, right? So I'll make a quick comparison between these two. Okay, why it's not loading? What? Okay, the drop down is not here. Let me go to the mobile computers, laptops. I don't know. Amazon.in is gone mad. Okay, anyway, we have that already seen, right? So yeah, so that's basically select drop down. And here we have something called as bootstrap. Sorry, that's bootstrap drop down, and this is the select drop down. So if you go and inspect it again, guys, I'm into the Orange HRM demo site and inside the directory. So if you come to this directory and you can see these elements, right? So job title and location. So how to select this? Again, you don't have to click this and then select it, okay? Because you know if you see the tag name here is select, which means these particular drop downs are called as select drop downs. Okay, so there is a separate way to handle it in Selenium. Okay, so you don't have to really do 2 clicks. Instead you can just find this element alone, and you have to really only bother about you know finding the select tag, right? So whether you use ID to find it or you use name to find it, you don't have to really worry on the options here, right? So let's try to do it. So already I have the code here that basically launches Chrome, launches here, and then I want to click on basically the directory, right? So let's go to the directory and see there is an ID here, so I'll directly use it. So once I do this, I think this is a password. Let me also use first login. Okay, let me log out, and so you have ID, that is text input container, it's already there. And for password again, right? So I'll use the ID here. So by dot ID, yeah. And then again I want to click on the login, so let me quickly develop this by dot. Let's go to the login and use this. So it's having an ID, so let's also use the ID here. And yeah, once I log in this, now I need to click on the directory, so I'll copy the directory ID here. Okay, in dot click. Now, so once you are here, so you can inspect basically that. Click on directory, and here again you can click on inspect. Okay, so we are trying to inspect the job title here. Again, you know how to handle this tick box. You have to just find it and do send keys. But this select drop down, I'm going to find it using ID. You can use XPaths or name or whatever. But for now, I'm just trying to find it. Find element by dot ID, same ID, and this basically returns us the web element, right? So you all know this is basically web element type. Okay, web element A or web element job title, something like this. Okay, so that it's more. Hover your mouse over this and then import it. Okay, so this is what we know so far, right? So now I am trying to put it in the select class. Okay, so if you want to operate on this, okay, then you have to write these 2 lines of code. Okay, select a new select. Okay, again guys, this select should come from import class. So there may be a lot of options shown to you, but choose the one that is having org.openqa.selenium.support. Okay, this is coming from Selenium standalone jar. Yeah, so this is the one you have to import. Now here in this brackets, you need to pass this particular element. Okay, that's it. Once you're done with this, if you type select dot, okay, here you have three options. Okay, either you can select by using value, or you can select by, so let's say select by index, or select by visible text. So there are three options using which you can basically read this. Okay, you can click on this. So first, so this drop down has different options. Okay, you can see here the same options are visible in the DOM as well. So the value is 0. So if you want to choose all here, you need to use value as 0. So if you want to choose value as account assistant, you need to choose value as 22. If you want to select by visible text, you can use account assistant. Okay, for example, I want to select, let's say, chief technical officer. So you have to search for chief technical officer, and you can use this text to select it. Okay, so first option is using text. Okay, select by visible text, and then you can pass the text here. Okay, so this is the first way. Let's put some thread dot sleep here so that we can see it what's happening. Okay, okay, I'm putting wait for 3 seconds. Now after that, I also want to select, uh you know I want to select, let's say, HR manager. Okay, I want to select HR manager. So HR manager is value. I'm using value this time, so value is 23. So select dot select by value is basically 23. Okay, that's in text. Okay, if you notice, this is a text. Okay, good. After this, again, I'm putting thread dot sleep. Okay, for 3000. And again, you can also select by using index. So what is index? So you can see value here. You can see uh, text here. But what is an index? Index is the way it is arranged. For example, the all is 0th index. Account assistant is the first index. The order in which they are arranged. Okay. If I want to select CEO, then I have to use 0 index, first index, second index. Okay. So then I can use second index here. Select dot select by, see, index. So index, I need to pass a int type, right? So int is 2, which means it will select CEO. So which is the most dependable one here? The most dependable one is visible text, because you can basically select based on the text here. Okay, because if the order changes tomorrow, that doesn't matter. It is always going to select based on the text available, right? So that's the more reliable one. Apart from that, you can also use values, right? But you should not use index as much as possible. Okay, good. So now let's try to see what's happening. Okay, maybe I'll put a debug point here, and I'll try to run it in a debug mode. Okay, okay, sorry, I didn't enter the password, it seems. Okay, let's go. And in the password field, I need to enter passwords. Yeah, all good. Now let's again go and debug. So at least if there is something that is getting failed, you should be in a position to understand why it is failing and then fix it. That's very important, right? It's not always possible that you can create everything without mistake. So now the page is loading, so it will wait. Selenium by default will wait for the page to load. Okay. Now, so I have put a drop, a checkpoint here, and if you notice, it is not yet selected. Okay. Now, if I go and click on step over, it will select the text chief technical officer in the drop down. Let's do the step over. Okay, it's done. Let's go and see. So it is changed to chief technical officer, right? So that's how easy it is. You can select the drop down without even performing 2 clicks. Okay, I've not performed any clicks at all. I'm directly selecting that. Same way, now I'm waiting for 3 seconds. Okay, I'll wait for 3 seconds. Now I'm going to select something by its value, that is 23. Okay, let's try to do it. So if you notice, HR manager is getting selected. Okay, the same way, I'll wait for another 3 seconds, and then I'll do select by index. So now it will select something else. Chief Executive Officer, which is actually present in the second index. So 0, first, and second index. So it selected this, right? So yeah, so this is how you can play around with select drop downs. Okay, how will you find the drop downs? Whether it is a select drop down, you have to right click, inspect, and then you need to see whether the tag is selected. Okay, that's the only way that you could find whether it is a select drop down or not. Okay, so all you have to worry about is finding this element using ID or name or XPath or whatever the ways. Okay, you don't have to really worry about what are all the values inside this. Okay, good. So that's how you handle select drop down. So what else we could do here? Okay, let's say instead of selecting, you want to deselect. Okay, suppose select dot, you want to deselect by index, deselect by value. Suppose if it is already selected, imagine you could you could have seen some drop downs where you can select multiple drop downs, multiple values in a drop down, right? So in those cases, you can select it based on index, you can select it based on value, you can deselect it as well if you already selected it. You have seen the multi-selectable drop downs, right? Maybe I don't have an exact page where I could show it, but you can use all of them, right? And yeah, so this is basically, you can deselect, deselect by value, you can deselect by index and all that. But there is one important method that you can use, that is called as get options. So I'll tell what is it. Suppose you want to verify, so in your case, you want to verify that that list of all these job titles are displayed in this job. That is your validation that you know in your manual testing. You want to validate one by one. So account assistant is there, chief executive officer, you need to validate it one by one. So the same scenario, you need to do automation now. So in those cases, I want to validate all the things, all the drop down values. So what I can do, select dot get options. So this options method, if you notice, this is giving you list of web elements. Okay, which means it will try to fetch all the option tag. So if you notice inside the select tag, these are all option tags. So it will try to find all these element by itself. You don't have to write XPath and all that. Okay, if you know select tag, you can understand there will be child tags with the option. Okay, so it will automatically find all those things for you. So I am do it. So I'll introduce. So again, if you notice, this is again list of web element, right? Which we already seen how to use list of web element. We iterated using for loop, right? We have done this here, right? We found the links in the Google page and then we iterated it and printed. The same way, here we are going to do it. So again, for loop, we are going to write for loop I equal to 0. Yes, I'm starting from I equal to 0. Options dot size, which means I want to go till the end. And what I want to do, I want to print all the stuff. Options dot get. I want to get them one by one, and then I want to print the text. Okay, I want to print these text, all account assistant, all these things. Okay, I want to print it. Okay, good. Now let's try to run it quickly without debug mode. So let's try to run it. Let's see whether it is getting printed or not. So page is loading. So Selenium handles page loading automatically. So it will wait for the page to load. So if you notice, it selected CEO, then HR manager, sorry, CTO, HR manager, and CEO now. And it should have printed all the values by this time, right? So if you notice, it's printing all of these values. Okay. If you want to do assertions, we will do assertions based on this. Okay. So this is how we can basically get the options value and then, do some tweaking around it. Yeah. So that's all about the select drop down. Okay. Now what we can also do, we can also store this exact text in another, string. Okay, so because we want to do the assertion, right? I am having, let's say I have some values in my JSON file. Okay, which is actually having all these values. Okay, I want to assert this, or these values are stored in Excel. I want to read them and then I want to validate whether this is exactly matching. Okay, in those cases, I actually needs to, I cannot print it. Okay, I have to actually store it in some place so that I can do validations, right? So in those cases, what you can do, you can basically introduce a list of string, because I'm going to store a lot of strings. Okay, so I'm using list of string. I'll come to list of strings, what is this and all that, because in next class. But in the meantime, you can like, I am going to get strings, all the strings. I'm storing it in array list. Okay, so here instead of printing, you can store this in the array list. As I already told, you can use add method, strings dot add this particular string. Okay, so what happens? So we are iterating to through all the elements. We are getting the text from all the elements, and then we are storing it in new array list. Okay, now this is having all the values. Okay, whatever the values that we need, it's all here. Okay, so that you can validate. Okay, yeah. So this is how it is, but we'll cover this in detail. I'm just giving this on a high level. We will cover what is list, what is array list, and all that. Just give some time, okay? But for now, just to understand till here, that is more than enough. If you understand till select options and know how to print all the values, that is more than enough. You can ignore this part for now. Okay. Any doubts so far before we proceed with other stuff? Any doubts from anyone?
And then once you store the value in array list, what you will do? Why do we have to do that?
Just a minute. Which one?
Uh,
This one?
uh,
This
41,
one? If
41 line.
okay.
Yeah, yeah, you added the all the strings in.
So you
What?
forget about that. Okay. So you
Yeah,
just imagine that you only have this. If you have any doubts, you can ask me in this. Do you have any doubts here?
and
So we are getting all the values and then we are trying to print all of them. That's it. So if you understand till here, it's more than enough. I just went ahead and then covered that, but that's not needed because I need to cover what is list, what is array list before coming here. So maybe you can put a pause here. And then if you understand all these things here, that's more than enough for now.
okay.
Okay, good. So, what there are some problems that we understood in the last class, and we'll try to rectify each one of them. Okay, so the first thing is the code is looking little messy because I'm having all these values in between. Okay, so that it's not readable, and if I have to use that same thing again, okay, it's not there. Okay, you have to again write the same line of code. Okay, and tomorrow imagine there is a change in this id. Okay, what you have to do, you have to search where this is. Okay, it's very difficult for you to manually search. Come here, tomorrow they change this to 123. Okay, you want to change it, so you have to go and search through. Suppose this is a very simple piece of code. Imagine you have written very long test case that has 1,000 lines of code. How will you go and search it? So very difficult, right? Very difficult for someone to go and edit this manually. Okay, maybe today you know, but tomorrow there is a new guy who is coming to your project and you left this company, so it will be very difficult for them to understand where you are maintaining all these things. So that's the reason people have standards where they maintain all these things. Okay, so what normally people do is, you know, they will extract this as, let's say, uh, so for now I'm using static. So this is a string, right? You can either store it as a string or by type, whatever you feel comfortable. So I'll use one as a string, one as a by, so that you can understand really what it is. Okay, so I'm using static username, so by type of username. Okay, equal to by dot, so this is xpath, right? So by dot xpath, and this is the xpath value. Okay, so this is one locator, so one locator is done. Next locator, so here instead of all these things, driver dot find element, I can simply put username. Okay, that's it. Good. Now if you notice, if there is any problem, they will come and search in the top itself. Okay, here there is username. Okay, I'll go and change it. Okay, if there is a change here, they'll come and make it here. Okay, so that you don't have to really go and search in this group of code or clutter of code. Okay, you don't have to do that. So it's a good thing. Right, now let's go to the by type of text password. Okay, you can store it as a by type or string type. Maybe I'll use by type again, And this time this name of this is password equal to by dot password is using ID, right? So ID, and what is the ID, whatever we are using, you can copy this and paste it. Okay, that's it. Good. Now you don't have to mention all these things. It is password. Okay. So also if you notice, guys, username is in red color. The same thing is here, which means whatever the value is here is actually used here. Okay, that's how you can easily differentiate with the colors, right? Sometimes you may wrote some spelling mistake. Okay, if you make it this, it will throw error. Okay, or it will highlight what is the problem. Okay, yeah. So, and also if you notice, there is also good coding practice that you can use. That is, let's say username is a text box, right? So you can just append txt box in before that, so that people can understand, if it is just username, we do not know whether it is a guys, please go on mute, guys. Okay, if it is just a text box, okay, you can add a text box in between so that people can understand it is actually a text box. Okay, so yeah, that's a good thing to do. Again, if you have two words, then start the first one with small letters and the second word with capital letters. We call it as camel casing in programming. This is a good coding practice. Okay, so it's the same way password is also text box, so you can write a text box password. Okay, good. Now the same way, so if you notice, I have changed this here, but this also needs to be changed. So what I can do, I can either change it here as well. Okay, good. And okay, if in case if you are changing here and then there are 10 to 15 occurrences below, then you cannot copy paste in 10 to 15 lines, right? That's something very difficult. So in IntelliJ, you also have something option like you can select this, right click, and then refactor, rename. Now I will change this here. So let's say I'm naming this as text box password. See, in the bottom of the screen in the 30th line also it's getting changed. Okay, whatever I'm typing in the top, it's also getting changed everywhere. Wherever it's been used, it's getting changed everywhere. So that's the beauty. So you can, there is a shortcut also, alt shift and R, that I use, or shift plus F6 that you can use, or you can select this, right click, refactor, so that it gets changed every place. Good. Now next one, so but by dot id login, right, button login. So this one I will use it as a string. For example, static string, this is login, right? So I'll always use button. For button I'll use either, you can use button login or btn login, so anything is fine. Okay, equal to, what is the one, so this is also having a simple text. So this is just a simple text, we are storing it as a string type, right? So here by dot id, and just remove this and use button login. Okay, so it will refer to this. Okay, so the only advantage of using by type is, okay, you can you can avoid this particular line of code. Okay, you don't have to really bother about whether it is by dot id, okay, by dot xpath and all that. So if there is a new programmer that join your team, okay, you have already find all these things. Okay, in those case he needs to understand whether this by button login is an id while he codes, right? Let's say I'm typing my code, driver dot find element by dot, okay, I don't know, by dot, I don't know whether it is id or xpath. You have just mentioned it's a button login, I don't know whether it is id or xpath and all that. So I have to go here and then I need to click on this and then search. Okay, this is an xpath, okay, this is an id, I need to understand after that. So instead of this, if you maintain it as a byte type, you don't have to really bother about whether it is an id or xpath, which is actually already there. Okay, so that's the advantage of using byte type. The advantage of using string is when you want to do the dynamic exports, you can use string. Okay, so this is all the advantage of by and string types. Here I'm just telling by dot id, so this is already there, so let's remove this. And again the same way you can put for all these things. Okay, now if there is more, so here there are only 5 to 6 elements, okay, you can put it here. But if there, imagine there are 600, okay, so then it is very difficult to maintain. Okay, here, so what I can do, I can basically create one more class and then put all of them in there. Okay, for example, I'll create one more class. called as page objects. So they are all page objects, right? So I'll name it as page objects class. In this page object class, I'll copy this whole stuff. I'll put it here. Okay. Now this is good. Now if I go here, it's all throwing error because this particular class cannot find there is something called as textbox username. So because this textbox username is present in another class. Okay. So what I have to do, I have to mention this class name before that. Okay. Class name dot and then this one. Okay. The same way class name dot and this one. Okay. Everywhere you just need to put class name and dot. Okay. So that it can understand it very well. Okay. From where this is coming. So I'm trying to find an element using some byte type. That byte type is not in my class. Okay, if it is in the class, I can directly understand it, but it's not inside my class. It is in different class. Okay, so there I am mentioning, okay, search in this particular class for this text box username. Okay, so that's how easy it is. Now, everywhere, whenever there is a page objects, you can just come and change it here. Okay, you know, if there is a class called page objects. Okay, inside that only all the locators will be maintained. So it's a convention. It's, you know, every automation testers knows this. Okay, so they have a page object and then they maintain all these things here. Good. Again, there is one more problem. Like for example, if you are having a bigger website like Amazon or this open source HRM, you have a lot of elements. And if you notice all these elements, suppose there are 1,000 elements, okay, you have thousands of elements in this one class. So that is again very difficult to manage. So in those cases, maybe you can group different things together. Okay, for example, this page object class is only having username, password, and login. So let's log out from here. All the login page elements I'll meant. So these are all login page, right? This is a login page. So we will separate an application based on the pages. Okay, so this is a login page, and all the, you know, selectors and all everything we will maintain in one page. Okay, for example, I'll rename this to, so let's say let's go to refactor, rename to um, login page objects. Okay, which means it's all having login page objects. Okay, so all the login related stuff will be here. Okay, I will create one more page, one more class. Let's call it as home page objects. Okay, in which I will maintain the home page stuff. Okay, let's go to the Selenium test. We have home page, we have directory, right? So let's copy this and let's go to the home page objects. We'll create one more one, static by type of, this is link. So for link, I use link directory equal to by dot, this is ID, right? And this is the ID. Okay, so I think this is not needed. Problem while copy pasting. So yeah, so this is an ID. So here, if you go to the Selenium test now, so where this find element is located, this is located inside home page objects, right? This, because this element is a home page objects dot. So you'll get this link directory option. Just choose this. Okay. So try to find an element inside home page objects and then link directory. So I want to click on the link directory. The same way, you can also move this to this particular page. Okay. Let's cut this and let's go to the home page and then static by this one is a drop down, right? So I can put trp dwn and then job title. It's a job title, right? So job title, this is the one. Yeah, good. So once you are done with this, you can again come here and then you can just mention home page objects dot drop down title. Okay, this is how you can basically maintain your locators. Now it is very readable, right? So if there is a change tomorrow, I can go to login page. If there is a change, I can go here and then change it. Home page objects, if there is a change, I can come and change it here. So this is how you can maintain your locators in a neat way. Okay, yeah, any doubts in this so far? Okay, okay, then it's good. Now what we can also do, we have some other problems as well. What are those problems? One, we understood that this Chrome driver.exe is very difficult to maintain, because today I'm using 96 version of Chrome, so I have downloaded the Chrome driver.exe for 96. Tomorrow it will be 97. Okay, I have to again download the 97 version and put it in the path. Okay, so this is again very difficult to manage. Again, this changes for different operating system. So today it's working in your machine, tomorrow you are sharing this with your client and your client is using Mac machine. So there the .exe file will not work. So then what you need to do, you need to find what is the operating system that your computer is using, and based on that you need to write XPaths. Okay, so these are all things very difficult to manage, right? So this is one problem. And another problem is when I trying to share this project with others, I need to go to the project location, I need to zip it, and then I need to send it. And if he has to make some changes simultaneously, he cannot do. I have to wait until my other colleague does the change, and then he zips it and sends the project. So this is very difficult to do this, right? So this is why we need something like Git and then Maven. Okay, so first we'll solve the first issue with help of Maven, because every time you add a new functionality, okay, you need to add the jar files to the path. For example, we have only added Selenium. Now I want to read from Excel. Okay, Java doesn't support reading from Excel in built. So there is another guy who has written code for that. So you need to download that jar file. Okay, you need to put there is a jar file called Apache Boy. Okay, Apache Boy jar file download. Okay, you have to put, and then for this you have bunch of jars. It's not just one jar. You need to download at least 5 to 6 jars for this. Okay, all these jars I need to download, and then again I need to go here and then go to settings. Sorry, not the settings, the project structure. So project structure, and then again I need to go here and add all those library jar files using this method. But again, this is very difficult to manage, right? That's the reason we are going for Maven. Okay, Maven is a build tool or a dependency management tool. So whatever we are adding here is called as dependencies. Okay? These are all external libraries, right? So because our project is also depending on these things, okay, because Java doesn't know about Selenium. Okay, Selenium is a separate library that adds more features into the Java, right? The same way there are other libraries we are going to use. For all of them we need a Maven project. Okay, so that's the ultimate goal. So problem with Java is every time you add an external jar file, you need to add it and then you need to maintain it. If you are sharing with your friends, you need to also put the libraries, all the libraries that you are using in a folder called lib, and then you need to ship it. Okay, when the project grows, the libraries goes, it's very difficult to maintain the libraries. So what you can do, you can maintain them with the help of Maven project. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a Maven project that going to help us to resolve all these issues. Okay, go to new, you can go to project, and then if you notice, previously we used Java option here. Here now it's really problematic for me to mute you guys every time. Okay, uh, please go on mute if you're not speaking. Okay, again it spoils my flow as well, right? Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so yeah, so again previously we used Java, now we are using Maven, right? So that's the only difference. Okay, let's try to click on this. Okay, you don't have to select any of these, just click on next. Okay, now it is asking you create a project. Okay, okay, this is my first Maven project. Okay, not exactly my first Maven project, maybe yours, right? My first Maven project. So you can give any particular name that you want to give, and the project is going to be located in the root directory master automation frame on this. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not worrying about all those things for now. Maybe if you want, okay, you can go here and then change the path. Maybe I'll put it inside Selenium project itself. Okay, so now I can change the path. So yeah, let's click on finish. You want to open this in this particular window itself, or you want to create a new one? So I want to create a new one, which means there'll be two windows in the IntelliJ. One window is still pointing to your old one. The new window is pointing here, right? So if you notice, that's the problem. So I have actually created in wrong place. Okay, so let's basically remove this. I'll create a new one, new project, and I want to create a new Maven project, put it here. Location is basically Selenium project, and I can put inside somewhere here. Yeah. So I'll open in this window so that I don't have to really worry about it. Again, it is creating wrongly. Okay, anyways, we are only interested in one Maven project. That's, yeah, but we are only interested in this thing, but we are seeing all these things. Just a minute, guys. Okay, let's go here and choose a different one. What? Let's keep something Selenium project, and I'll create a new one. Maybe. So I'll check whether there is anything. So I'll use this, and here. Yeah, now everything is correct. So I created an empty folder and put it there so that we only see what we need to do. Okay, what we need to see. Okay, so there are two differences. Okay, for example, I'll do a side by side comparison between this project and this project. Okay, notice when the last time we created the project, okay, we notice we have just the SRC folder there. Here also we are having only SRC folder. That's fine. But inside SRC folder, we didn't had anything. But this time the Maven has created some folder structure for us. So there are two folder structures. One is main, one is test. Okay, so the folder structure is a little different. And previously there is no pom.xml file here. So there is, notice there is a pom.xml file here that is created when you're creating a Maven project. So that's very important file. I'll come to what it is. And we also have external libraries here. Here also we have here. Last time we added the stuff manually, but this time we are going to load everything with the help of pom.xml. Okay. Now, first thing I want to work with Selenium. So Java doesn't have the code to work with Selenium. So we need to add it. Last time what we did is we went here, we go to project structure, and we added the dependencies manually here. But this time the pom.xml, the Maven going to help us to do this. Okay, what I have to do, I have to go here, Selenium, what I want to, this one. Okay, but this time I don't want a jar, I want Maven dependency. Okay, so if we go here to this Maven repository, this is a centralized place where they are maintaining all the jar files. I can just click on this, and if you notice, this is the version that I'm looking for. So the Maven Gradle, if you are using Gradle, you can also use Gradle. But for now, we are only interested in Maven. So I'll copy this. Okay, it is copied to clipboard now. I'll go here. And here below this properties, okay, just to add one tag called as dependencies. Okay, this is a simple XML file that maintains all the list of dependencies. For example, I'm trying to store one dependency inside this. So let's paste the one that we copied. Okay. So what happens once you place this, and then you have to go here to the Maven tab, and then you can put on a refresh, which means it'll automatically download the jar file and then it'll add to your path. For now, there is nothing here in the external libraries. It'll slowly add all of them, whatever it needs. So if you notice, the bottom of the screen is getting added. So you are not downloading it, you are not adding to the path. So if you notice, all the Selenium HQ, all the Selenium related jars are now added. Okay, if you want to remove it, you can just remove it and then go to the Maven here, and then click on reload, it will be removed. So if you notice, all of them got removed, only the Java jars are here. Okay, so that's the beauty about it. Maintaining your things is very easy now. Okay, so now again I want it, I will add it, and then I will click on reload. Okay, it just came back. So that's how easy it is to add new jar files, okay, to the Maven project. Once you are done, so there are two folder structures, right? Before we directly created an SRC folder. Now all the test cases, if you want to write, you have to put it inside SRC test Java. Okay, so I am creating a new class file. Let's name this as class file as my first Maven test, whatever. whatever you want to. Okay. The class file. This is again a normal way. Everything is remaining normal. Okay. Only thing is the way how you are managing your dependencies is getting changed a little bit. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add a main method, and then I'm going to print hey, I am a main project. Okay. Okay. And then you can try to run it normally. So everything is going to work the same way. If you want to work with the Selenium, okay, you can basically copy paste the same code from there. Okay, I want to work with Selenium, so yeah, paste it. So here also it will automatically import at this. But yeah, if in your case, if it is not importing, you can, maybe if it is not importing by itself, it will highlight error. Just go here and then import class, so it will import it for you. Okay, yeah, that's it. It got imported. Now we are good to work with Selenium as well, because we added the dependency. So again, Selenium is also launching. Okay, so the big difference between Java and Maven project is you don't have to maintain any of the jar files. It will automatically maintain for you. So tomorrow, if there is a version change, okay, tomorrow they released 4 version, then you can just come here and then change it. Okay, you don't have to download the new jar file, remove the old jar file, add the new jar file. You don't have to do this. But the important thing that you need to understand is whenever you are adding this newly, okay, it will get added. Okay, it will download all the jar files from this particular Maven. This is like a centralized place. Okay, from this place only it will download all these things. Once this downloads, it will store it in this particular place. Okay, you can go to C users and then your username. Inside that there will be a .m2 directory. Inside that there will be repository. Inside this it will store all these things. Okay, all the jar files that you need. For example, in our case, it's basically org.seleniumhq.selenium, right? So let me go here, go to org.selenium. I have downloaded a lot of dependencies, so you can see a lot of them. In your case, it will be very less. Selenium HQ, inside Selenium HQ, you can see all these jar files are getting downloaded. Okay, these are all the jar files that you need, right? It actually downloaded these many things for you. Okay, you didn't do anything. It actually downloaded that for you. Tomorrow, if you are creating one more project and you are using the same version, same group ID, same artifact ID, then it will basically load this from here itself. Okay, from the cache. This is like a cache location. If it is not present here, it will download from the internet. If it is in the local machine, it will use that. Okay, so this is just a one-time load. It will download and store it in the same 2 directory and then use it. Okay, now we will come to what is group ID and artifact ID. Notice there is something called as group ID, which actually indicates who is the developers for this. Okay, so there is a community called Selenium HQ. They are actually the developers for this. Okay, so this is the group ID. They can also release more artifact. Artifact ID is something that is, let's say you are publishing a document. It's like a document. Okay, so they name this document as Selenium server. So yeah, you can also create your own library and then you can contribute to the Maven repository as well. Okay, so yeah, so artifact ID is the document name and group ID basically indicates who are the creators. Okay, and the version indicates what kind of version it is. So that's very simple and easy to maintain. So yeah, again, we are understanding what is Maven, what is dependencies, how this is getting managed, how it is downloading from the internet and where it will be stored. But this has one problem, that we are downloading the dependencies from the internet. Okay, so this is not actually problem, because as a end user we are actually using it. It is really secure, but companies doesn't prefer downloading from the internet. So what these companies, okay, if you are working for a company, what this company will do, they will actually download all these jar files. Okay, they will actually download all these Maven dependencies and all, and then they will put it in a place inside the company itself. They will have one folder like how we have .m2 here. They'll have one dedicated folder in, or a repository, where they will maintain all these jar files. Okay, in those cases you might need to tell, don't download it from the internet, because they might block you. Okay, if you try to put this in your office machine and then click on reload, it will not download the jar files for you. It will tell, okay, I cannot download this, you are facing proxy issues and all that. So in those cases, you need to check with your developers, hey guys, give me the settings.xml file. Okay, so if they give you that settings.xml file, okay, you just need to paste it here. Again, this is my personal machine, I don't need the settings.xml. If they are giving one settings.xml, just keep it inside settings, this settings.xml in that .m2 folder. Okay, in that settings.xml, you will have some details like, let's say, they will have the template already, you don't have to really worry about it. They will have the internal repository url repository URL, and then they will ask you to enter your LDAP and password. So LDAP means your username and password that they have given you in your company. Okay, if you just change this alone, it will work. Okay, so this everything will work, but instead of fetching it from the external or the public Maven repository, they will have their own internal repository from which it will fetch the jar files. Okay, that's the only difference, guys. Okay, tomorrow if you are trying to do the setup in your office machine, if you are facing issues, you just check with your developers or other automation testers, or give me the settings.xml. It's again a XML file where you can find the internal repository URL. Just it will be already there. Just to change your developer LDAP with your LDAP and password. Okay, that's the only thing you need to do. Okay, so we have understood what is a Maven. We understood what is how to create a simple project, how to run our test. Maybe tomorrow session we'll continue further and then try to resolve the Chrome driver.exe dependencies with another dependency called WebDriver Manager, and then we'll try to go further into other topics. Okay, so yeah, I am stopping my session for now. If you have any queries, please ask.
Hi, Amadan.
Yeah.
Just now you said some .xml file.
Yeah.
Any sample .xml file is there? Do you have?
Settings.xml file that too I have, but this is my project, right? It's my office project, so I cannot share it with you. So it will be a very simple project that has just two things you need to be worried about. Okay, one is your internal repository URL, and then the LDAP and password. Okay, sometimes what people do, they will also have a proxy. Your company proxy, suppose for example you are working for CTS, you mean cts.proxy.com, whatever the port number. Okay, so those things will be already there in the settings.xml if you're getting from the developers. Okay, so you don't have to really worry about all that. Just change the username to your username and your password as your whatever the password that you do to log into your company. So they will have this LDAP integrated and all that. So yeah, you don't have to really worry about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other doubts from anyone?
And one more thing, actually, my system having some internet and some power issue is there. I missed it first half an hour. Today, are you explained any page object model?
No, I didn't do it. Page object model, we will cover it in detail, but I have given some part of the page of model today. So you have already have the recording, so you can go through the recordings and then you can understand it.
Okay, thank you.